Hello.
Yeah. All right.
What's going on?
Um. Oh, here I'll show you. So right now digitizing old 8 millimeter camcorder cassettes
Mm-hmm.
through OBS and like 8 billion different connections. And I also set up. This will be used for some cool content soon. This is a little. This is a Pelican case that I've been organizing, and I have a couple of more odds and ends, wires and stuff that need to arrive, and then
I forget. Do you live next to Owen Benjamin or Owen Schroyer? I forget.
Owen Benjamin. I have a picture of me with Owen Schroyer, actually.
Are you working with or for one of them or no?
No,
But you want to.
no. I actively avoid the idea of working for someone less talented than me.
Well, what's going on? I mean, I get it, but like, it's okay to like work for people. Like, I don't. Maybe it's because I mean I'm younger. I mean, so
There's a just one word that you have to work on in that sentence. Just one small word.
what?
For. I don't work for people. I work with people.
Mm,
You
okay,
understand? There's a
I know.
difference. There's a difference.
All right. So when I show pictures, how should I show them?
You should work with people too, by the way. You should that kind of that is the teacher student master and slave relationship that they beat you over the head with in
Oh,
school.
oh no, master. Oh no.
They also beat you over the head with it in college, and everybody bows down to calligraphy that's framed on the wall and says, "I'm the smartest guy in the room," and I just don't buy into any of that shit.
Okay.
So, yeah, you work with people.
I
You don't
work
work.
with Tim Stavers.
Yeah, because here, think of it this way. Also, you want to work for people. You say that, but you mean you want to work in the presence or with the same goals or with a complementary goal as that person that you think is doing good work already, right?
Okay. Yes.
But that like immediately is like a knight, some guy coming in and bowing down to the squire and saying, "Please knight me and give me the right to go forward." To me,
Yes.
I just do I'm the Black Knight that gets all his arms and legs cut off in Monty Python. You know what I mean? I'm just like
Yes.
too stupid to know when I've lost, and you can succeed. Well,
Nice. I
well
like
remember
money for
Black
that.
Knight.
So can you hear my vote? Like, my do I have way better audio? Is what I'm asking you.
Very much so. You sound a lot better than you did before.
Good. I have a lavalier microphone on.
On my end, anyway. I mean, I'm in a soundproof room. That's just
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I use. You have like a special room. How old are? I'm 22. He's what are you like? 35 or something? 30?
I'll take it. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay. So in this conversation, I want to show some pictures and images and documents. How do I do that?
On on this,
Should I just flip the camera around?
uh,
I can do that. That's totally fine with me.
yeah. If you flip it around, that if that's how you want to show them, because we're telling everybody, um we're
We're
looking
just
at
talking about Epstein today. I mean, well,
Epstein stuff.
it will be on the quote unquote the Blue Your Soul podcast TPYSP episode 76 at this point. But this is also part of this will be like a side episode of the Mike and Tim write a script, show. I've been calling it writing with whatever, I can change the title later. So the reason I wanted to do this call today is because there's just so much to talk about and so much to laugh about and so much to cry about and so much to beg for in terms of murders. Thank you for coming on. Well, I mean, thank you for working with me. So yeah, this is gonna be good. What do you guys do? Like make music or podcasting, etc., etc. Well, I make podcasts. I do sometimes make music. I think I know that you might make music of some sort. I don't know. I forget who you are, but I also make films. He makes films and does, many different types of content as well. And I'm from Philly. He's from Oregon right now, but he's from Connecticut originally. So
I'm from
yes.
New Hampshire. I say I spent a lot of time in Connecticut, sure,
That's right.
but I originally am from New Hampshire. Now I'm in
Yes.
now I'm in Oregon, which I realize there's a lot of artists that moved away from San
Fuck.
Francisco
Yeah.
up to the Pacific Northwest and then emigrated over to New England. And I didn't realize that, but a lot of the punk that I listened to all came from Pacific Northwest and Scandinavia and stuff.
Nice.
Nice to meet you, Sleepy.
Nice to meet you, real sleepyhead. So I'm gonna send this to a couple people right now, and we'll get started. So, well, first off, did you ever think that this amount of files would ever be released?
Um, it's strange to see what's showing up on Instagram because I have like really is focused on just using Instagram as my social media. Like that's where Tim hangs out. He doesn't yeah, like I post elsewhere, but so I'm only seeing the stuff that's showing up on Instagram, and everything that I've seen I saw like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like a
On
lot of the people like are surprised about certain people, and I'm just like, bro, we've known Chris Tucker was on the island for like a minute. Like, what are we doing? Like, Rush Hour 4 is probably gonna be the top movie of next year. No, I'm joking, but yes, continue. Sorry.
it'll be huge in China.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes. Continue though. What you were saying. Um,
Uh, well, what were we getting at with this? We
just
were,
like a reaction to the amount of files
oh
being
yeah.
released.
Well, the amount of
Yeah.
stuff that's being released that I'm seeing talked about is okay. So I'm not thinking ever about what they're releasing. I'm always thinking about what's next. Why? Why now? Why did they release it now? After we have all these clips, at least I do. I've seen. I don't know what other people see. Like the internet's so segmented now that some people are on the internet and they don't see any of this stuff.
Yeah, they don't know about the Pizzagate party videos at the Comet, like all that
Yeah,
shit. Like they don't
I
know, they
had
don't
to
know
hear.
about.
I didn't like seeing now the video. You can't see a lot, and I thank them if they're editing just enough of a clip of the video to
No, I
show.
don't ever want to watch that again. I know what you're talking about. I hate that I have
Yeah,
to
I
watch.
hate the sound of it. I didn't like seeing it again. It made me angry again. And I used to do. I mean, we were doing streams back in the day. Just be forewarned, dude. I've done many podcasts. If anybody's been following me, and we've abandoned them because whenever we talk about this stuff, like I had a stream shut down when we were talking about stuff with a buddy, and I still have the footage. I had a black SUV out front of the house. You know what I mean? That was in Delaware, but that made sense to me because you're so close to the Air Force Base. There's all these Fed people in the area. And then there
Yeah,
was
what's up, Sebastian? What's up, Casper? Just saying hi. But yes, that's crazy. And he's also had a family in Delaware, so he's had his own interactions with the elites of Delaware, as well, rather my family has. But continue though about the streaming and your feeling about
oh,
that
yeah.
streaming that you're talking about,
Well, just
and yes,
we've been talking, friends and I, like the real friends that have been there through this whole thing. Most of whom I met in LA, like during post 2016 election Trump meltdown syndrome. Just like
yeah,
trolling people on Hollywood Boulevard and stuff, like weekend after weekend. It was funny, but
yeah.
most of the time we were just like scoping people out and seeing who was up and coming and promoting what and who was kind of making a joke of it or who was like doing who was like who could be trusted that like it was someone like us like I want to know what's really going on. I keep seeing all this stuff. I've read it on several different places. I had a friend who back in the day was like um I remember him saying, "Hey, can you disprove this for me?" Because he had already been looking into it, and I hadn't even
Yeah.
really been touching on it. And then
Yeah.
I started looking into it and stuff, and I was like, I was going jumping sites. I'm going and looking on, completely. He didn't even tell me what I was looking for, and I was like, "Yo, this is disturbing. It looks very genuine. Like this is a lot of information. It's just a lot of breadcrumbs."
I don't know how they do it. How people that like do this shit for a living or like barely make a living off of it do it. Like
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it. Like I know a couple people personally that do it, and some that have been essentially canceled into doing it, like
yeah.
by
That's the
certain
thing. The
factors, where
thing
it's like they have no other option. But like I have a friend who got expelled from a big college because a billionaire didn't like certain things he said,
right? Yeah,
and he has no choice but to do this. I mean, honestly, he could have went down a less extreme route with like this stuff. I don't know, but there's certain people that, like they feel like they have the only solution is to make fucking content about the most depressing stuff ever, and it's like I
yeah,
get it, but like that's why honestly, as much as it is fun to make fun of like those man on the street type of guys, they take a much more, I would say, healthy approach to this because like a lot of them, like some of them are just like we're gonna go to a frat and film a Q&A at a frat and see what they're doing at the frat party.
right. Yeah.
Like those like Brandon Buckingham, like Andrew Callaghan type
Well,
guys. Like they're much like, but if you're just going like fucking, anyways, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, nobody goes down to the local tea and crumpet shop and talks to mom and pop. I did do a couple of videos like that just to show like kind of boomer brain rot that I, I was like, these people are cooked. Like they don't, they're the best way I can describe like this kind of bubble existence that everybody has is I remember my grandma, my last living grandparent just died. She was 105. That's why I'm digitizing all these tapes and stuff. I
No,
think I
yes, the Super 8, yeah.
but I remember visiting her in New Hampshire at this old folks home. Really nice place. Really like upscale, like top of the line, take care of the old person, old folks home. You know what I mean? Not like one of the ones you see on TV specials or in clips where nurses are beating people. It was like genuine, like good place. Anyway, I remember visiting her, and it was around one of the Trump elections, or like when Trump derangement syndrome was first hitting, and it was around that time. And I remember looking at the periodicals, like the magazines that they had on the
Hmm.
table everywhere, and it was so fluffy and nice compared to the Fox News reports or the stuff that I was seeing wherever else I was in the world. And
Yeah.
I just realized that that's so much easier with a phone and stuff, or if you control all the periodicals to just change the covers and everybody thinks the world's great. It's like it changes the
Yeah.
mood of everybody. So when I see these releases and stuff, it's almost like part of me is like, look, dude, everybody always says it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? Everyone says that constantly.
I've gotten told that. That's one of my favorite things my uncle told me when I was
Yeah.
like fucking suicidal in high school. He was like, it's gonna get worse. Pull it down. Like,
I
anyways.
said that to a dude once. I remember I was driving this guy in New York, this comedian, and I remember I phrased it. He was just like going through a way. He was younger than me by like 10 years, whatever. We're driving
Yeah.
along, and I just remember the only piece of advice I gave him was like, dude, at some point in your adult male life, you're gonna have to pull some kind of trigger. Just make sure that it's aimed in the right direction.
Yeah, it's not at your fucking back of your mouth.
Yeah, that's
You
stupid.
know.
Do something crazy instead of that. I think that's from
Yeah, kill your girlfriend instead.
do
Yeah.
something crazy. Yeah, kill you. I mean,
Yeah. Kill
don't
that
go-
dumb. Anyway.
cut the testicles out of a living animal and eat them. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
cowboy shit, right?
Well, I would say
Crazy instead.
on the positivity thing. I mean, you're right. A lot of people have like a rather positive echo chamber of an optimism, and I would
Yeah.
say that our echo chamber and other echo chambers, if we think we are in them, I think I'm in one. To be honest, I'm trying to not be in it, but
Yeah.
I am in an echo chamber. But and it's so black pilled, it's so negative, but it's true. Like it's, I'd rather be. You can be true and not be negative. Like I think if you take it negatively, that's how it goes. And I would like to reference me and Jay Corrales, me and Lowers on were talking fucking like really long, like 4 or 3 hours, like a couple nights ago, like at like 5 a.m. and shit, because we're both editing projects.
Yeah.
And I just was telling them, I was like, do you know
Real
how much
mentality.
my generation hates millennials? And their stupid optimism from the Obama years. You know how much we hate that shit and we make fun of millennials for being like optimistic and funny and like, I'm quirky and I'm a millennial and I have the fucking office narration, John Krasinski face bullshit. Like me and like I was talking with Lores and I was like, we hate your generation, and you are like one of the good ones, Jay. But like, we fucking hate your generation with a passion, you know. And it's like, I'm unapologetically like gonna stand by that, you know.
Dude, well, no,
Even more, I like Gen X better, to be honest. Maybe it's because of my
inter
parents.
intergenerational conflict is all too real and sometimes really hard to not justify sometimes, like, and it's biblical. It's biblical too. It's like there's constant like you're from the old generation. You stay out of the town. Don't go into the town because we don't want your kind and the way you think in the town. You know what I mean? Like,
It's like with boomers and shit. Like everybody
yeah,
hates them, but then there's now it's like the infighting of all the other generations is particularly interesting. I would say that Generation X has a lot of hope, but not too much hope because they've lived through much more negative, I don't know how to describe it, things that make it so like they have like a realistic hope that Gen Z can relate with when it comes to like a policy or like a story or something. When it comes to millennials, they have like they think that they're in 2012 and the new independent coffee shop just opened and they're the only store in the city that's selling oat milk. So that's their mentality whenever they see a politician, is it's like
but
some new fucking coffee shop that's selling oat milk with
they
their coffee. And
yeah,
and and I fucking hate that. Like Gen Z, as much as we're annoying, we just know everything's bullshit, and we know how to spot bullshit and be like, fuck
yeah.
you, like we don't care. Like, I don't know if I'm just rambling, but yeah.
No, no, it's they go through they are very much like the Zoomers, as I refer to them. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always, the term Zoomer to me always felt like somebody who's in a rush to become a boomer. They're doing the exact same stuff that the boomers did. They're adhering to the same systems. They're putting away money for their kids' college education now instead of buying a piece of property and sitting on it and then having their child inherit a piece of property, and then the child can go from there. Like the boomers, damn dude, they they just consumed. All they did was consume. They didn't produce. They sold and consumed. Like
Zoomers are
now,
the opposite. All we do is create. Like,
that's what we need. That's what one of my biggest issues has always been like trying to find people that don't want to sit down and watch TV at the end of the day. I was like, dude, I want to be collapsing into bed at the end of the day.
yeah.
I don't want to, if I'm watching something, I watch movies, I watch TV, but I actively sit there and watch it and critique it, and I am tuned into it, and
Yeah, like I
I'm,
try to make it like an event where it's like
yeah,
I'm watching this thing with you. Like I remember when I got the Eyes Wide Shut restoration, like that was like a big I mean, there's like two funny videos I put out of me watching it. You
Yeah.
know, like that was like really so big for me. Like when that came, when I was able to like watch it with my homies
Mm.
and shit. So like, no, I know exactly what you mean. Like I don't ever like sit down and just watch. I haven't watched anything in the past 2 weeks because I've been getting so much work as like,
That's good.
an
That's
editor
good.
and other shit. Like I don't
That's why.
want to be watching shit.
That's why I tried to keep these types of things like low key because I feel like, and I'm guilty of this. Well, I always wanted my presentation to be like off the charts. Like I got a logo, I designed a logo, I chose color palettes, I did this, I did that. Like I like to make the product look like I care about it. But I feel like
Yeah.
there's a place for casual conversation online, and ours is to serve a bigger picture, which is a movie. You know what I mean? Like I think one of the things because speaking of movies and YouTube and stuff, didn't Markiplier just have his movie released?
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. He was crying.
Yeah,
He was
he
like
was.
crying. That's how well it did, like compared to what he thought. And
Yeah,
because what he did is he like I forget what he did, but he somehow was able to find a deal with AMC to put it in like every AMC theater, and but it's still independent. I don't know much about it, but he's very smart about it.
the theaters
Um,
are dying now, which is great. I hope to see more independent theater ownership. Like I would like to see AMC die and sell off all their theaters, and I would like to see filmmakers like you and do what Jay is doing, which is take your film,
or Peter Vack.
show it out everywhere, show it as many theaters as
You
you
know what
can.
Peter Vack's doing with Rachel Ormond? Like
Um,
he just basically he rents theaters or finds a theater that won't doesn't even need to rent it and will do like a revenue split,
yeah,
and he'll show it, and he's like, I'm specifically looking for small theaters in small towns in small states. So like I'm gonna set him up with one in Delaware. Peter Vack. I reached
yeah,
out to his team when they made a post, and I was like, hey, I work in an art house theater. Let's set it up, And their team's been extremely nice
yeah.
about that. So let me see. I'm trying to find this film thing. Let me see. Film, television, podcast. Um, I have the same last name as him, by the way. So I might be. I don't think I'm related to him because there's a lot of Fishbox and shit. But maybe. Let me find it. Iron Lung, Iron Lung, Iron Lung. Here we go. Development. Okay. So he. Let me see.
Uh,
I'm trying to find this like release thing. He
Look at
published the trailer, released it was he encouraged fans to request this is what it is. This is crazy. And I'll respond to Sebastian in a second.
okay.
So despite an initial this is what the Wikipedia says, and I've seen multiple videos to verify this. Despite an initial slated release in only 60 independent U.S. theaters, like small rented out theaters, Fishback encouraged fans, Markiplier encouraged fans to request it directly from their local theaters, leading to a grassroots word of mouth campaign reaching Cinemark, AMC, and Rio Entertainment Group, among several others. As of the official release day, it is showing in 4,161 theaters internationally because he got his fans to call all the movie theaters and request it essentially, and it's released independently. I assume though, and I know how many of these goes because I work in a movie theater, a small movie theater. Is what they do is every theater has a booking agent that is the guy who knows on the street, what every and they what every theater wants and what the theater should be playing. And
Yeah.
this booking agent is approached by the distributors, right? And he gets like a cut of like getting the movie. Anyways, what it did with like hundreds of beavers, right? You know that? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So he found some producer after the movie was done that worked for another distribution company. And then basically they reached out to theaters independently after they made a couple money off of some screenings and were like, hey, our movie made this much at these screenings and got this reception and won this award. What if we showed it at your theater? And then the social media campaign started. So like these things are possible,
Yep.
and maybe it doesn't go that well for you if you put out a movie, but other opportunities come. And I've seen this personally with a friend. A friend of mine had multiple screenings show, and then now a musician group is they're getting a biopic done because they enjoyed his movie that was shown independently, right?
Hmm.
There or other gigs can be requested based on the success of your film that I've seen personally. Um, or I mean, there's so many examples of how filmmakers can get stuff done. I know somebody that works at a museum in Delaware, and they basically met somebody that worked at another school, like a film high school of some sort, like an art school. And
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, I know you make movies. Let me see your latest script." That person that worked at the high school also worked at the Everett Theater in Middletown. You know where that is, right? So that
Uh-huh.
now the Everett Theater is funding this dude's whole short film and will premiere at that theater in and then multiple other theaters in Delaware because he's also a manager at the movie theater I work at, right? So like you'll never know where you can run into people that can like provide these opportunities for you if you just aren't a weird freak and have a plan, you know? That's
Right.
another thing. Don't be a weird freak. That's like my favorite. I think there's like a whole hide wars on like don't be a weird freak like or
Yeah.
something. So like that's another thing is like meet people, don't be a weird freak. But yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think of that?
Big agree. Don't be a weird freak. Actually, I was just thinking about recently I went to a theater who I was trying to feel out for, you know, what their cost was, what kind of a system they had, and I was put off by the fact that the person was from Southern California and they're way up here in Oregon, and Oregon towns are very locally minded a lot of the time, and I was like, "What are you doing up here? Get out of here. You're not from here. I want somebody from here, you know." Um, But but I do think that theaters are struggling because not they're not struggling because they're usually owned outright completely by somebody who has been sitting on the land for a bajillion years. Most of them that are still standing, especially the nice, quaint downtown like artisan theaters. So they're always going to be there, but they never have enough content to be bringing people in on a regular basis.
Well, that's
So
why I like small theaters that do a combination of entertainment. Like my theater that I work at,
same,
Theater
yeah.
N in Wilmington, Delaware. It's the only non-profit art house theater in Delaware.
Hmm.
Um, we show movies, but we also do comedy. We do jazz. We do political. We do fucking
Yeah,
political rental events. We do a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
yeah, yeah,
And there's always something happening here, which leads to donors and members rather of the quote unquote elites of the Wilmington that want to support us, that want to give us money, that want to give us grants. And
yeah.
I love working for them. I only work for them like once, pretty like every week or two, because like they don't have enough shifts for me to like work full time and shit. But there's those type of things that you're like your local art house theater. You got to support that. Um,
Absolutely.
but so back on I got a thing in the chat. So
Yeah.
Sebastian says more of what should be done too is taking these abandoned or near abandoned malls, turning them into film studio space. That's what's I would bet that that's going to happen in New Jersey, and
Yeah,
that's why
I
I
was,
got
I was just gonna, I was just
yeah,
gonna say, if
or
anywhere,
Allentown even in fucking I know Allentown has filming or I was
yeah,
gonna say we use an abandoned H&M as a bat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I don't. I mean, what were you about to say about that?
oh yeah, well, abandoned malls have always been places where you see, or New Jersey also like industrial like warehouses and stuff. That way, I did a music. I've done every music video you do in that area. It's like we're gonna be meeting at this industrial park that's mostly abandoned, and you're like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Like that.
Um,
Yeah,
and again, like with the online shit, I hate people that don't, and I don't think people should like only aspire to be like some online presence, right? And I see that a lot, but
mhm.
this whole like Terrence Malick could not. I don't know how he could raise money for his fucking movie today with Badlands. Like, imagine he's going up to like dentists and is like, can you give me $250,000 to fund a movie about some 25-year-old like raping and then burnt killing his her dad and then going on a cross country journey with across the Midwestern America, and it's just like a Bonnie and Clyde type of story. Like the dentist is gonna be like, "Get away from me, you freak," you know.
Right,
But if he said that sentence and then was like, "Oh, by the way, I have like 50,000 followers on Instagram, and I have fans that like watch me like review movies or something," then they'll be like, "Okay, let's see what your engagement is. Let's see your analytics."
right, yeah, yeah,
You know,
right,
that's how it's got to go now. And I mean, you're seeing this with Markiplier, and I always like to tell people like, again, like don't be afraid to make like just like a fucking like this is what I'm telling somebody who's like working on a short right now. I'm like, and I am also trying to get paid to be make short form content for them. So I am. This is a little bit of me wanting money, but it's also like, who the fuck is going to watch your movie if there's no content on the internet about you making the movie or hyping up the release of it? So why don't you just give me like fucking $20 an hour? I'll film some videos of you on set, like and just be like, what are you doing? Who's here? What's your name? Blah blah
right,
blah, and then fucking put it up, like schedule it like every other day, and then you got people and put hashtag filmmaker. People want to watch it. People want to support it. Even people that you already know that don't want to like don't tune into
right.
your account because you're not posting anything. Like
Yeah, that
unless you fucking are like, and this is no shame to like diaspora groups or like weird minority groups, but unless you're like fucking like Nigerian or like Hungarian, and you can get like some grant to make a movie about being Nigerian or Hungarian, you're not going to get money for your movie. Or if you're
right,
making a movie about an immigrant who's having an abortion,
right.
like
In other words, these two guys, we're not in the front line for the grant money usually in the United States for movie making. Not
I'm
for the
gonna start work. I'm gonna start applying for jobs at internships at these nonprofit art like there's multiple different like film production companies that are like public access or like community centers that are also making films and or doing workshops and stuff. And a lot of them are like these like essentially anti-American cesspools. But I mean, if I can have more access to learn something or just meet people that generally want to help their community, even though like their community is giving it away to the third world, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like I want to know how those work, and I don't like have shame or hate for people that like you know, do that stuff where like they're in an echo chamber of making documentaries about climate change and immigration. Like that's just the way shit goes, and I don't care. Like, but and I find that very interesting to me that there is this whole like echo chamber of filmmakers that only make socially progressive um stuff, and it's like it's really interesting to me. But again, like occasionally those type of people that work on that stuff will work on like a great production that that's why like I don't hate on like I can't just look at everything again with the positivity and be like everything is satanic, even though a lot of it is. What's accursed in the Bible is your invaders, replacing you in your homeland, right? But again, you look and meet somebody on the street, are they satanic? No, they're not. They just have this different worldview.
Well, it's all for me. It's all definitional. Like I learned from somebody that the word Satan, as it's pronounced in the Old Testament, really translates directly from ancient Hebrew to the word adversary, which means like the one who stands against or goes opposed, the one who stands opposed to whatever. Like even the angel of the Lord appears as a Satan at some point.
Hmm.
So then you have to go down the Dante's Dante's Inferno rabbit hole of all the imagery of what Satanism is and Satanism and what it means, especially to us as Americans. Like you and I are from the, we were like born and educated in a pretty close area. You know what I mean? Like New Hampshire
The
is not.
creation of the country.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're in the early states area. The New
Well, I
England.
grew up going to an Episcopal school of like an old like old time American privates, not like that old like 1900s, and then but the one that I went to was like new, but it was from like the lower school of the where Dead Poet Society was shot. So like I was, I mean, Episcopalianism is like there's flaws in it, but like I was taught like the traditional like this is what America is. Like I don't say I
Yeah,
was like indoctrinated really as a kid. I couldn't I but then when I went to public school, I start to see. I start to like my teacher did this one. I was in this English class. My teacher was like, people say folks with an X because it's like gender neutral, and I'm just
mhm.
like, why don't you just read me the Elders of Zion right now if you're gonna give me this propaganda? Well, if you're gonna show me this propaganda, why don't you show me the other stuff too? Like I'm
Yeah.
done. Like at this point, um, so again on Zion, let's get to Epstein right now. We have like 15 minutes left. That's totally fine. Um, I want to go through my favorites. Do you have any favorites? First off, that we can maybe talk about, like favorite moments of this. I call this a reality show. One could say like some sort of BET. I'm
Yeah.
seeing black women fighting right now. That's the way I view this. I don't know if it's real. I hope it's real. But if it's not, whatever, you know. So what's your favorite like midget fighting Jerry Springer moment of this files?
Um, I'm trying to well, I haven't seen a lot of clips of people talking about or people coming out on this release. But one funny one was a guy from a New York comedian named Big J Okerson was named in the Epstein files, but only once, and it was because he was in a show that was reposted about like he was one of the comedians in a show that Epstein was telling somebody to watch or go to or something, or they when they were scamming
Yeah,
when they were doing their ticket scams. I think one of the biggest things for me is I know people who have been signed by major record labels and all that stuff, and I was like, man, in my brain, I think, oh man, you guys contributed, but I didn't.
yeah.
And it's like I dodged a whole wave of guilt by not being involved with any of this. But like I also have like here's a real situation. Like there are people that I've met in real life out here that used to work for Microsoft and used to work booking flights on the planes. We're talking like the one of several secretaries that works for the type of guy that goes, I want a hot dog from Nathan's, but I want it from Coney Island for real, the real Nathan's, and they'll fly up. It's like they're working for Tony Stark, that kind of thing. Um,
Yes.
and it's like, get me a helicopter in the middle of the night, and they're like, okay, yeah, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Um, but they never said anything. These people, I was like, yo, you should do an interview. You should do something. You should write it down. You do something to try to
Well,
contribute.
what did they say?
Contribute just to contribute to the end of all of this. If you're a voice who can
A
expose,
groundskeeper, rather, like the hero that released the Black Book. You know, like the original Black Book, Epstein's Black Book from over 10 years ago. Like, be that guy. That guy will be seen as like a patriot because he released the first Epstein's Black Book, The Groundskeeper. He was like some Guatemalan dude that so like I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. They should reach out. But
I
what did
don't
they
believe.
tell you?
I am personally so skeptical that I don't believe a single solitary version of the story that's coming out of the screen. I think one of the things that weirds me out the most is how people are like, the media's lies, it's all lies. And then the media tells them what they want to hear, and they're like, all right, the media's finally telling the truth. And I'm like, fuck.
But that's the thing, though. They aren't though. Like the channels, the news companies aren't releasing it, and if they are talking about
It
it,
is
they're talking
like,
about Putin being the villain.
yeah. If my five fingers, or my four fingers and thumb, represent timelines of information, this one's true. And they also put out these other ones right beside the truth at all times so that you can
Yeah,
always go back to the archives and look stuff up. But you weren't paying attention to it because the news story was so huge about the fact that Ilhan Omar might have nodded her head at a guy before he shot her with water. It's like, why the fuck are we talking about these assholes? Who gives a shit? Like, yes, are they screwing us? Yes, they are. But yeah, they are. They are low level just distractions. So
and then
this
there's another issue of
huge
some of
release,
the photos aren't real
yeah,
photos. Like
it's a
one of
bunch of
them is
AI nonsense that's been programmed to go ahead alongside the real stuff, so that people are like,
yeah.
that's not true.
And now when I
Hillary,
get this out of the way,
Hillary Clinton didn't cut a child's face off and wear it as a mask. You guys are crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'd like to see more on that one because
yeah.
that,
Well, there's a lot of images that are what you would say is I would
yeah,
say erotic, edgy art that are saved as PNGs, and then what they've been doing is blocking like parts of them, and it makes it look like it's actually something, but
worse
it's
than it
really
is.
not. Or there's like the Michael Jackson photo is fake. Everybody kind of knows that. I
Yeah,
remember that came out many months ago, but a lot of let's get into some actual images. Let me I would say that, and I know there's arguments that it wasn't blackmail, that it was like a combination of non-blackmail and blackmail, like an unspoken blackmail rather. And I would venture to agree with that.
mhm.
So I'm going to turn the camera around. Um, this is a essentially security room, and I find that really interesting to me. That's one that's Let me move the camera up a bit. But oh, I can't move it up a bit. Oh, that's really interesting.
Like
But
a home,
there,
like a home setup for
yeah.
security.
And then there's oh, this is why I like this. This is the gooning chamber. He's got like all three different types of lotions and shit. Like
Oh yeah,
this is a massage thing. Let me put it in what do you call it? Grid view. This is crazy. The sailor outfit, like that makes the Dasha Nekrasova thing like really interesting. Is like she made this whole movie about uh
Area
being
60.
obsessed with Epstein and all. I haven't seen it, but and then she
Yeah,
became famous
I've
off the
seen it.
sailor like outfit and stuff. And I'm not saying she had anything involved. I'm just saying like this is just like particularly. I think her art really captured emotions and feelings of this era, and I definitely want to check out that film, the Scary of 60, whatever that was.
Area
This
60.
seems
Yeah, I watched it when it came out. You can check it out.
this is like some ritual, and he's this like him. I don't know. Seeing him wear the American flag on a shirt just bothers me. Like to think that this person was born in my country. Like I know he's obviously an Israeli spy, and they've confirmed that.
Yeah,
But and then
I would just call him
again,
a.
let's get this out of the way real quick. Look at that. Just look at that. Right? And then we're gonna go back to me real quick. I would say that throughout history, many women will be viewed as ride or die women.
Yeah.
And but I don't think any woman will be seen as more of a ride or die woman than Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, you just look at she held it down. She's in jail right now. She could spill the whole beans. She could call some journalists, but she held it down, you know? So I would say to the men watching this, or later, now in the future, you need to, minus the rape and pedophilia, you need to find your Ghislaine Maxwell. You need to find, like, and there's hope for you. There's hope for you, and you can, I don't, you could bomb, like, a building. You can, throw acid into a senator that's giving a speech his face or whatever, and she'll stick by you. You got to find that woman in your life. So again, we must, and then there's so many
She's
wholesome
only going.
moments.
Well, can I breathe some reality into that statement?
Yes.
Any woman is only going to stay with you if she is getting more than what she could ever possibly want. Ghislaine Maxwell was living the life that most women. I'll be totally honest with you. They'd sign up to be part of his harem. Most American females, especially in these generations, would sign up to be part of the harem voluntarily.
I, no,
It,
I don't think she was like just some broad. Like I think she
no,
was
no,
actually like a
I agree
vital
with
part in
you.
the operation. And
People can
I mean,
find
if you
something.
listen to the account, she was arguably worse in terms of like her sexual abuse than Epstein. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, her father is the reason. I mean, not really. I think Epstein has huge connections before, but her father is basically one of the reasons this happened. And
Mhm.
so I mean, you are right though. I would say that like women, a lot of women would sign up for that. Though you are right there.
Well, we don't have to. All you have to do is look at the Nexium case that was swept entirely under the rug and nobody ever talked about with Keith Rainier. Like Stormy Daniels has his brand on her body. Like these women will sign up and get branded if it
Stormy
means.
Dan, oh, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And then there's the one from Smallville. That's right. And you know what's interesting to me about that is I forget when this happened, but I swear I must be schizophrenic. But I remember reading an article around like 2019, 2020, and it was about Nexium and or a similar Nexium type club, and it was Jack Black explaining how he would go to parties and he would essentially see all these like rock stars fuck and be at a party, and you just had to not be weird about it, and you had to wear your mask, and you
Yeah.
had to like, and he was like, I think this might be a thing, but he said something like, I don't know if this like, somebody was like, this rock star has a small penis, but they're a rock star and they know how to fuck. You know what I mean? It was like some shit like that. Like this is like a common thing. And Nexium, that got swept under the rug. And
Mhm.
I think that they pick ones that can be sensationalized, and those ones are often the smaller level ones, like Diddy or Nexium. They're much easier to sensationalize because it's like one dude, right? But like with this one, it was you can't sensationalize this, but I guess now they are. They decided they are, and that's why like calling the question like, is this true? But I think what this is, personally, what I think this is a huge humiliation ritual for the population that reads it. That's what I think. I think that they're putting it out because they know that
Let,
people aren't going to do shit, and
let
they're
me
just going to put it out, and they're gonna. It's like COVID. They're doing the same thing with COVID because it was a demoralization thing, and it was a reveal that made you weaker and more tolerant to evil. I see all these posts that are like in the 50s, this couldn't happen. In the 80s, this couldn't happen. And I think
it's
that media has a role in demoralizing people's response to things because everything's in a movie. Like this shit already is in like 5 different movies. This whole story that we're talking about right now is
Yeah.
in True Detective. It's in Eyes Wide Shut. So by the time we're even presented that it's true, it's already fake to us. So we don't have a reaction to it. We're just like, okay, well, everything's expensive, or like we can't. We're focused on our job. It's like that's what's happening.
Yeah. At least the prices have come down a bit. Yeah, that's
I'll give them that. Yeah.
that. No, no, I'm not giving that. I'm saying that wildly sarcastically because
Okay.
at the end of the day, people only give a fuck about not having to work for their money. Everybody is on the same. Everybody is trying to work as little as possible and have as much money as possible. And you know,
Yeah.
if you're working to make money, what are you going to spend it on? Most people will be like, "Oh man, I'm going to get an island." Okay, what are you going to do on the island? Whatever I want. Okay, well then you are basically saying to the populace, especially that's why I love that Epstein shirt that Sam Hyde did so much. Is the imagery is straight up the hip hop image that they sell to people. This is what you
Yes.
want. This is what you want. You want to be this guy. You don't want to be some stupid guy with his family that just goes to a job and does a job and comes home at the end of the day. You want to have a private jet. You want to have an island full of chicks that you can go to whenever you want. You want to have more money, than God. That's the image that they've always sold. That is how he lived.
And
Now
I'll pick another. I'll show another image of how he lived real right now.
I
I
mean,
would say that
I think
this.
there's worse people around him, and he himself probably sat there and just did what most people do, which is tolerate, which is not a Christian principle, as Shia LaBeouf so eloquently pointed out. Like tolerance is a Jewish thing. Tolerance says, "I will put up with you because I'm better than you, so I'll put up with you." Whereas forgiveness,
I like Shia LaBeouf. I know he's like got his issues, but I like him. But anyways,
I like Shia.
let's show how beautiful they lived. I
Shia.
would say this looks like to be something out of Lord of the Rings. This is like some king shit. I mean, just look. I mean, this has to be Prince Andrew or somebody like that. This looks like some like British high,
Well,
hills.
that's probably at the Queen's cabin. There's a picture of him and Ghislaine sitting on the porch at the Queen's one
So
of the
awesome.
one of the Queen's properties, and you can see anybody can go and verify that if they want to look that up. But
And
yeah,
then this had to be a grand old time. You know,
I
they
mean,
got
I
putting.
I call her the Queen, but I should say that cunt Elizabeth. Like honestly, like why are we still like acting like these people need to be addressed as anything other than their names? You know.
I
Well,
would if they actually did so. If they
We
actually
say
like
Prince
did shit.
Andrew, we say Prince Andrew, and he's a fucking faggot. Fuck him.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
he's fucking 5 years. Like yeah, like he's
yeah,
terrible. And
fuck,
this is like
fuck
some
Prince
true
Andrew.
detective shit right here. I mean, I don't even know if this is. I don't even know what that is. But and then my favorite is in the thing. There's a bunch of pictures of him just going around taking pictures of Ghislaine's rack. Like she's just like sitting down reading, and he's going up with the camera, just like taking.
Well,
Like who doesn't do that with their girlfriend? Anyways, this is one of my favorites too. Is no. The question would be. Let me see. Is it going to be 100% Jew night? Uh, la 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 la. And then Epstein says no. Goyim in abundance. J.P. Morgan execs brilliant wasps. So good, so funny. I need a Goyim in abundance shirt because at the end of the day, we want to be Goyim in abundance. That's our goal. That's our goal. And another good one is Wayfair ordering.
yeah,
Ordering lots of packages from Wayfair. Is that was
well,
that to Woody
we,
Allen? Ordering Wayfair chairs to Woody Allen. I wonder if that was actually a chair. Um, that's very interesting to me. Um, Oh, this is interesting. In 2011, they were on to Nick Bryant calling them. Um, so yeah, that's interesting to me. Shouts out to Nick Bryant. Follow Epstein Justice. Um, Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. I forget what that was. Who was? It's hard to from Epstein. Yeah, okay. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. That makes sense. That he would say something like that. This is a good one. Uh, he's this isn't. Oh, this is in 2019. Damn. But he was talking with the fucking Zelensky. Like, so that's really interesting to me. Is he was talking with Zelensky and
You wouldn't have thought that.
no, I actually would have thought that because we all know about Zelensky and his
Well,
things.
the real, the real
So
amazing, the real amazing thing about the quote unquote Ukrainian war that's happening is it's all drone strikes, and there's zero footage. It's amazing what at a time when there's more cameras anywhere than ever in the history of mankind. It's amazing what we do get images of versus what we don't get images of. That should tell you everything that you need to know. Is that like anything that they are allowing to happen, they are allowing it for their reasons.
I think
It's
it's
not.
all a sacrifice of the native Ukrainian population, probably, and they will. They'll have people come in that aren't Ukrainian, or I don't even know. I don't even know, man. I just think that
It's,
there's
a,
just some like
it's
massive.
about.
They
It's
want
about.
to destroy. They want to. The people that push Ukraine into the war want Ukraine gone more than Russia. And I think Russia, there's some evil to shit that they do, right? But I would say that the people that push Ukraine into war are basically just as evil and probably want Ukraine gone. They want a I don't even know what they want, but they don't want countries. They don't want your identity. They want you to die for like no reason. And they will it's like the sharks in Nemo, they'll sniff your blood and they get high on that scent of your blood. That's what who sent them to the war in fucking Ukraine and did the coup and all that shit. Like I don't even and we're seeing it in these files, like him talking about how after the coup in 2014, there's huge opportunities in Ukraine, right? Like he's excited that and it's like if Epstein's excited about it, I mean, I'm pretty sure he must have known something about it. I mean, he's talking about making financial decisions earlier than Goyam would, you know, really interesting to me. So I think again with the Nemo analogy, getting high on our defeat on is what a lot of this kind of looks like to me is they get a high on our defeat. And right now you're seeing a giant humiliation ritual, not in the fact that the people in the photos are being humiliated. They don't care. Everybody knew that shit. The humiliation is nobody doing anything and everybody knowing that nothing will be done. Even if some of it's true or fake, that doesn't matter to me
Well,
if it's AI or not. So
not only that, people are still going to expect to go through election processes. Like, um,
yeah,
there's a reason I live in the desert with a bunch of people. I mean, I'm going to be working at a greenhouse this weekend for on a guy's property who literally used the Bill of Rights to tell a judge that he didn't know the IRS shit because it's unconstitutional. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And he's right. And that's the real thing is getting people to believe that they don't have to succumb to this kind of ugly leadership. They just don't have to. They don't have to. Someone can
yeah.
come.
It's like
But the problem is you have the police who truly believe that they are good and that they're doing a good job. I was like, you are literally just protecting rich people or creating chaos. Those are your two
I
jobs.
mean, I know. I mean, maybe there's just people I know, but I mean, I think out of all the people I know that are in the military or cops,
Uh,
a lot of them share a lot of the same views that you and I do, or or
yeah.
have even just have a minuscule 50% of what we feel, or 30%. And I think that's fine to me. And I
Well,
think
no,
that
no. Well, hold
if
on.
something happens,
Here's where I disagree. I'm a man of my word. Nobody can take this away from me. Is that I do not want to contribute value to the dollar. Other people would say you're lazy. I was like, it's way harder to survive without money. Money's for pussies. People that want a lot of money are pussies. I can go out into the desert tomorrow with a hatchet and be fine for the rest of my life. The problem is I'm really good at making movies and I love making movies, so I have to stay in civilization. But I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to do both. But the majority of people are not men of their word. Oh, I'm a cop. I swear an oath. The government is now the enemy. Then start shooting in the other direction. No, 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 no. I got to connect my pension. I got to punch in. I got to go home. I got
yeah,
to.
they won't throw that away. But I don't know. I mean,
Now
yeah,
I'm older. I can say this, dude. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have anything holding me back when I speak. That's part of the reason I speak the way I do. But like, if you continue to go in and punch your clock and collect your dollars and contribute, use your effort and daily energy and time to contribute to the system, then you're complicit in everything that comes out of it. To me, that's why.
yeah. Well,
That's why.
I
Well,
mean, just like
hold on. There's a
yeah,
white pill at the end. You're cutting me off before I even get to the white pill.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is a problem with your generation. Is you're cutting me off before I get to the good news.
I will
Because
get to the good news.
if things are going to get better before they get, or things are going to get worse before they get better, every time I tell a story, I'm going to start in the shit and end somewhere better. Try to anyway. That's the Jesus method. Jesus was never like, wait till you hear this story. It ends terribly. It always ended
Yeah,
well. It always ended well. And
yeah.
even his story where he died ends well.
Well,
We're,
getting worse is me cutting you off. So
we're
now
living
we're
it. Well,
getting
no,
better.
no. Just before I get to the white pill. Now, what was I saying? They uh, where were we when
You
I
were
was?
talking about what do you call it?
All these people that aren't people of their word, bringing down the
Yeah.
system,
Oh,
getting
it's
getting out
pensions.
of getting out of the system, right? Okay, let's say there's a period of rebirth that could have to happen before we get to wonderful futures where you and I have our own theme parks because we're as big as Walt Disney, and we're shaking hands as somebody cuts a ribbon and unleashes the greatest two theme parks the two guys have ever built. All right, this is just a hypothetical future. If I moved to the area of the country where Buster Keaton made one of the greatest movies, where the Shining, the Overlook Hotel, which is the exterior of The Shining. I can drive there in 2 hours. I may actually just do a video from up there at some point, just because I'm like, it's just so cool. But if the whole system crumbled, those guys built it out of nothing. You know what I mean? They built movies out of nothing. Their movies were just black and white, hand rolled, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that's what built where we are. We have the benefit of already looking at all of that stuff and fast tracking the rebuild, essentially. So, like, I've been waiting all these years to watch for new waves of distribution and people that believe in like your generation is, where it's like we want to create shit. We don't want you getting in the way of it. We don't want you, you know what I mean? Like, if I was producing, if when I start producing openly with my own money, like I would invest in your film, and I wouldn't come in and I'd be like, dude, I'm here for you if you need to consult me, but I'm not going to come in and tell you how to make the movie because that's just going to make it shit. Then
Yeah.
nobody's
That's
happy.
good.
You know what I mean? Nobody's happy. So you guys should be more white pilled in a more realistic way than this Zoomers who are just oblivious. And they're just like you were saying, they're just like I'm on a
You mean
different planet.
millennials?
Millennials, right. Excuse me.
No, and yeah, I'm glad that you're saying that, and I'm yeah, that's great, and
But
I do feel that way.
that's the that's the I guess that's the good thing about um, just this whole landscape crumbling and all this stuff coming out where all these celebrities are disappearing, you know, because people are still going to want entertainment. People are always going to want entertainment.
I mean, there's already a new order. I would say a new order, a new order in Hollywood of younger stars that people are going to see movies of, and I
Yeah,
think and it's building, and I see it. I mean, you got the women are like they're pretty fit, like it's there. So like in with what you're saying with the decentralization and the building it on your own, and I mean cinema. Like I think our generation is actually the most frequent movie going generation, actually, statistically.
you guys are the generations going to the movie theater. You're the ones going to the movies more than anybody.
Yeah.
That's good. Well,
So
I
like
mean,
I saw that statistic. So yeah, let's white pill the audience. Let's end on that note, and I'm gonna call you after this is done. So anybody watching later, go make sure every Sunday as of February 2026,
yes,
every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, Tim Stabers and I will go live to discuss a film that we're writing together. This was rather an episode of the Pill Your Soul podcast, and kind of like a sidetrack of that series as well, to just kind of talk about modern events and just movies as well and storytelling.
yeah.
But so be sure to check out Tim Stabers' stuff and like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you for coming on. And can you please save this to your Instagram?
Oh,
And
good.
that would be the necessary. That would prevent me from coming to your house. And I don't even want to say what I'll do if you
Well,
don't save
yeah,
this.
I was
Um,
gonna say that is the one thing that we'll try to. I think we need to convince somebody else who wants to invest in this movie to get us a place to do pre-production for a couple weeks where we can write in the same place. Just because, let me ask you this: when they were working and when they were building Facebook or any one of these giant companies in Silicon Valley, what did they do? They all got a house somewhere and just lived in the house and worked. Just that's it. That's what they did.
yeah.
And that's what I think. Uh, that is what I think. We're gonna have to do that at some point, anyways. But I was just thinking, I was like, man, if we were writing this every day in like 8 hours a day, going into an office 8 hours a day, we would have been done by now. I was like, but that's where we are in the world.
Let's
That's
drag it
why.
out, though. Like,
That's
we
why.
gotta drag it
That's why
out.
the second one will happen that way. You know what I mean? That's the
Yo, the
other
first
thing.
one's gonna be painful. No, like I
That's
assume
what
it
I was
will
gonna
be
say.
extremely painful. Let's talk about this off screen though and wrap this up. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Yeah. All
but
right.
I'm gonna leave, and then but everybody be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Fuck with Tim, fuck with me, and thanks for watching this episode. And I'm gonna head off the live. So bye bye.